Alice Guo, once a little-known mayor of Bamban Tarlac, has now become one of the most controversial figures in the country, and this week, her story reached a historic turning point. A Pasig Regional Trial Court has sentenced her to reclusion perpetua, life in prison for qualified human trafficking. This conviction is tied directly to her involvement in the Biofu compound, a sprawling Pogo hub in Bamban, where more than 800 Filipino and foreign workers were rescued in a massive raid. According to the court decision and official reports, investigators found evidence that the compound's operations included forced labor, coercion, and the movement of trafficked workers under the guise of offshore gaming employment. 3 companies, Biofu Land Development Incorporated, Hongsheng Gaming Technology Incorporated, and Zunyuan Technology Incorporated, were permanently revoked. And the court ordered the government seizure of the entire compound. This is one of the strongest rulings so far in the country's ongoing crackdown on syndicated Pogo operations. The Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission called the conviction a major win for anti-trafficking efforts, and several senators echoed the same sentiment. Senator Risa Hontiveros described the ruling as a victory, not only for the victims but for the fight against corruption and transnational crime. Senator Sherwin Gatchalian said that the sentence should serve as a warning to all Pogo operators who have been abusing the system and violating Philippine law. But while this ruling marks a decisive moment, it also raises deeper questions about how someone like Alice Guo rose to power in the first place. During the Senate hearings, Guo's identity, background, and political assent were all called into question. Senators repeatedly pressed her on how she managed to become a public official, despite inconsistencies in her personal documents, her lack of a verifiable childhood record in the Philippines, and her connections to Pogo-linked personalities. The hearings exposed a troubling network of companies, enablers, and individuals allegedly tied to her rise, a network that extends beyond Bamban and into national politics, immigration systems, and business circles that benefited from the growth of offshore gaming. The Senate also highlighted the broader pattern of Pogo-related abuses in the country. Over the past year, multiple raids across Luzon revealed torture rooms, crypto scam hubs, detention cells, and trafficking centers operating under the cover of licensed gaming firms. Prosecutors and investigators often describe these networks as transnational, financially sophisticated, and sometimes shielded by local political support. Guo's conviction is being treated as one of the first major attempts to hold a public official directly accountable for enabling these operations. But the story does not end with her sentencing. The larger question remains: who else is involved, and how far will accountability go? Senator Hontiveros has been vocal about the possibility of both local and foreign actors benefiting from Pogo-linked criminal activities. In her public statements, she has emphasized that the Philippines cannot allow these operations to be used as platforms for trafficking, cybercrime, or foreign interference. The Guo case, in her view, is part of a much deeper national security concern. For many observers, Guo's downfall illustrates how weak regulatory systems, gaps in law enforcement, and potential corruption created fertile ground for Pogo hubs to grow unchecked. And while her conviction marks a major legal victory, the public is now asking whether this is just the beginning. If the Biofu compound was only one hub among many, how many more victims remain unaccounted for? How many operators are still active? And how many public officials help them operate? Today, the sentencing of Alice Guo is being celebrated across social, political, and legal circles. But the case also serves as a stark reminder that the fight against human trafficking and organized crime is far from over. Her story is not just about the rise and fall of a mayor, it is about a system that allowed her to exist in the first place. If Guo's conviction is step 1, then the next steps will determine whether the country can finally dismantle the deeper networks behind Pogo-related crime, and the public will be watching closely to see who else will be held accountable next.